Welcome back, everyone. This is my final video of the Israel trip. I put both day 13 and 14 in here because they're both shorter than the others. So if you haven't seen the other 12 days, go check those out before you see this video. Congratulations on making it this far in my video saga. Let's get into day 13 and 14. And so begins the horrible end of the trip. So our plan this day was to load the luggage for those leaving for the airport first, and then load the luggage of the people staying the extra day, so their luggage is on top to unload on the way to the airport. Simple, right? We came down to drop off our luggage in the lobby, planning to have two piles, airport and hotel, only to discover that another group had started adding their luggage to one of our piles. So when I got down to the lobby, Doyle and the others were talking with the leaders of the other group to figure out whose luggage was whose. And as someone who has problems with anxiety concerning things going wrong, I did not fancy leaving my luggage with them and hoping it got on the right bus. But Shane handed me a sticker with the name of our hotel that the 15 of us were going to, so I handed over my luggage. I went to breakfast. For the 13th time on this trip, I searched the breakfast buffet to see if I could eat anything. You see, I'm lactose intolerant and sensitive to gluten. Well, at the time I thought I couldn't eat gluten. I have since then figured out gluten is not an issue, and so it was hard to find stuff that didn't have wheat and also didn't have dairy. It usually ended up being fruit or scrambled eggs. Well, this time I couldn't find any fruit, so I just got myself some scrambled eggs. They were kind of runny, but whatever, I'm hungry. I take one bite and I knew. You see, my mind has come to associate anything that has to do with dairy with the horrible consequence of eating dairy. So the smell and taste of cheese now absolutely disgusts me. And as soon as I put those eggs in my mouth, I was instantly disgusted. It had been mixed with cheese. Oh, it was nasty. I spat it out and did not want to eat anything else at that hotel. I didn't trust it anymore. Luckily, I had a couple of granola bars still left over. So then we all loaded up and they dropped the 15 of us off at our final hotel. We waved goodbye and the bus pulled away. We headed into the hotel and asked if any of the rooms happened to already be ready, or if there was someplace we could store our luggage while we headed out for the day. Since we planned to sit in the lobby for a bit to discuss what everyone wanted to do, they cleaned our rooms while we waited. So we quickly decided that about 9 or 10 of us wanted to check out the Israeli museum on the far side of Jerusalem and a couple other things around town, while 5 of us, myself included, had kind of worn ourselves out over the last 2 weeks and were perfectly fine with just wandering the old city and shopping. Jim, Carlotta, Janet, Van, and I decided to head out shopping while the others kind of took cabs over to the Israeli museum, and then we would all meet up after lunch at the Tower of David. So after dropping off our luggage in our new rooms, the 5 of us walked up to the old city towards the Roman Cardo. Janet was going crazy with the shopping. We stopped by Udi's shop to buy more prints. Meanwhile, here are the others visiting the Dead Sea Scrolls at the Israeli Museum. We then had separate lunches. Our group didn't think to get pictures of ours, but we ate at the Holy Cafe in the plaza where the Herva Synagogue is. I had a delicious smoothie. This isn't it. This is some kind of falafel salad or something. We then met up at the Tower of David. I was designated the official navigator. It's easy for me to look at a map and figure out landmarks and which direction things are. It's kind of like a puzzle and recognizing patterns, and I'm good at both of those. When we got there, we realized it was Friday, which meant they were only open for another 45 minutes or so since they closed down early for Sabbath. We decided to just check out the King Herod section since that was what Doyle wanted to see the most. This here is the main interior of the Tower of David. This is the pathway heading towards the Herod exhibits. I decided it was the perfect place for some more fun selfies. We headed towards a building called the Kishla. It was the prison during Herod's time. It was likely where Jesus was held during his trial. Doyle was just so excited the whole time. This was the first time he'd gotten to see this place, and he was like a kid in a candy store. It was fantastic. Here's a photo from maybe 100 years ago when it was, again, a prison. You see the curved niches in the ceiling and how the bars are attached to the ceiling? You can see the lines on the ceiling where the prison bars used to be. How amazing is that? We had about 10 minutes before they closed, so we headed up into the tower. There's the Mount of Olives, and the Temple Mount, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Doyle was geeking out as he showed us all the sites we'd been to. I kept looking at my phone for the time as it got closer and closer to 2 p.m. I did not want to be one of those entitled Americans who only care about themselves. We get enough of a bad rap from people like that when they visit other countries. I did not want to offend anyone on this trip. I wanted to respect their rules and culture and beliefs. I kept standing at the top of the stairs wondering if I should call out to Doyle that we had 2 minutes till closing, we should head down. They were having too much fun and I was not about to get in trouble, so I decided to just go ahead and head down to the exit. They'd catch up.
Make sure Alan's had, well, no, it was a different level than that.
I was not the only one with that idea. Smitty did too. While us 5 tired shoppers decided to head back to the hotel for the day, Doyle and the others went to check out Zedekiah's cave. The entrance isn't far from the Damascus Gate. Zedekiah's cave is a cave that stretches out a good bit underneath the old city. It apparently isn't one of the most adventurous or exciting caves out there, but it's supposedly very amazing to see how big it is that there's this giant cave underneath Jerusalem. Unfortunately, it was closed that day, or perhaps it was just too late on Friday and they had closed for Sabbath. This was as much of it that they got to see. Anyway, us 5 shoppers headed back to the hotel. Here's a spice market where they created Mount Moriah from their spices. I would not have the patience to do this. It was amazing. Here's a little something to show how vehicles just drive right through the crowds in the old city. Meanwhile, in Toronto, the other 40 people are enjoying an easy transition from their Toronto flight onto their St. Louis flight. I envy you guys. And yeah, I heard you guys had to hurry or something to make your connecting flight in Toronto. That's still better than the short straw we drew. And here's our final hotel. This is the St. George Hotel. It's the hotel we originally were going to stay at during our whole Jerusalem stay, but they were short on rooms, so they had sent us to those 2 or 3 other ones. But us lucky 15 got to stay there on our extra night. Although I had to do a double take when I saw the zip ties holding the shower curtain on.
Whew. Hi. I have not done many of these narrative videos, mainly because I have not had the time. Our schedule has been so jam-packed. Because our tour guide, Doyle, is ruthless. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, he planned so much stuff for us so that we could see as much as was possible to see, get our money's worth, and, you know, have the best time ever. But in order to do that, that means that our schedule was really, really, really full, and like half the stuff we had to make reservations for, and so, you know, we had to sometimes book it really, really fast. In fact, there were 2 tours that we were late for, and they weren't too happy that we were late. But we did it. This is the last day. Well, this is the travel day for about 40 of the people in our group. but we couldn't get everyone on a plane today, and so I'm one of the 15 or so that volunteered to stay an extra day. And just got back in from the last day around Jerusalem. I'm tired. I'm not looking forward to a flight after these exhausting 2 weeks, but I'll be so happy to be home, in bed, my own home. I cannot wait to eat American food. Their food is delicious. Shawarma is great. Falafel is awesome. They do this special thing to carrots. They marinate it in something. I'm going to have to find out what. It's the most delicious carrots I've ever eaten. They're usually so dry to me, it feels like, but these were great carrots. I'm going to have to figure out what it was. But I've already decided that on the way home from the airport tomorrow, I'm getting a pizza and some frozen custard. I'm dying for American food right about now. And I thought I'd show you guys all these souvenirs that I bought. Okay, so this here is the gifts that I bought. I got a friend a shawl, got a coworker a wallet, I got a friend, it's called a root necklace. I still can't figure out the zoom, so you can't see it real well, but it's a menorah, a Star of David, and a Jesus fish. I got another coworker, she likes elephants, so there's an elephant thing. Another coworker, a heart, and it's a picture of Jerusalem in the middle. And then my mother wanted some Dead Sea products, and so I got her some Dead Sea bath salts. And then I got some friends some keychains. It says Jerusalem, you can't see it, of course. And then when we did our boat ride on the Sea of Galilee, they were selling these necklace pendants. I'm going to have to get chains for them or something. But these are stones that were taken from the Sea of Galilee. And so I got one each for me, my sister, and my mom. I'll let them choose which one they want. And then we got Christmas tree ornaments carved from olive wood. And it's one for me, my mom, and then my sister and her husband. I'll let them choose which ones they want. And then for my brother-in-law, I got him a Jerusalem coffee mug and I love Israel baseball cap. And then for my aunt, I got tote bag. Like, she likes canvas bags like this. For my boss, yes, those wine bottles are in plastic bags. That is just in case they leak a little bit in the suitcase, they'll leak into the bag. But this is wine from Cana, and that's where Jesus performed the miracle of turning water into wine. And then for my baby nephew, I got a little camel. And I got him a bib. Now here is the stuff I bought for myself. Ignore my mess. I've got plastic bags everywhere. I found this amazing scarf. I got this dress. It's blue and gold. And I mean, I call it a dress. I don't know what the garment is actually called, but it's just this. It's a long sleeve dress that just goes all the way to your ankles. I don't know if they call that a tunic or what. I got an oil lamp, a clay oil lamp. Got myself a refrigerator magnet. I bought at a spice market. This is falafel seasoning. I'm going to try making falafel because falafel's made with chickpeas, so it's perfect for not being able to eat gluten. Then I got some pizza seasoning because my family's crazy about seasoning their pizza. And then we had this artist that our tour guide Doyle knows. And the guy, his name is Udi. So you better look him up, Udi. He, as a gift, because he knows Doyle, he let each of us come in and have a free print So I got this one for free, and then when we went back by there today, I was like, you know what, I really liked this one. I'm going to buy this one extra. This one I didn't buy. This is what you get when you baptize at Yardenit, which is the baptismal site on the Jordan River. This one I didn't buy. This one, and I really hope I don't get in trouble for this. In my defense, I wasn't the one that picked this up. This is from the southern steps at the temple, well, not on the Temple Mount, but outside the walls surrounding the Temple Mount. And this is like, you know, first century stone. Jesus could have touched this rock, you never know. Do not send me to jail. I was not the one that picked this up. I want to reiterate that. And I got this book on the Holy Land. Like, I flipped through it a little bit. It looks pretty good. I got all these bookmarks. It's like fun ones, but most of them are like, you know, the sites that we went to. And then I got these bookmarks. Again, some fun ones, but some of them are sites that we went to, cities we went to. So yeah, there is my souvenir haul. I might find another bookmark because I still got 12 shekels, and I don't want to exchange it at the airport because the exchange rate will be through the roof for just 12 shekels. So I'm hoping I can find like a bookmark at the airport that I can use up the money.
So here is where it went downhill. After watching a bit of YouTube on my phone, I headed down to dinner. And then after the bad news and dinner and our group meeting, I get back to my room to fill all of you in.
Okay, so it is about 8:30, the night before our last night in Israel. I go down to dinner to find out that, see, originally we have a flight from Tel Aviv to Toronto and then Toronto to St. Louis, the same way that we flew here. Well, I go down to dinner to find out that the flight from Toronto to St. Louis is gone. Poof, canceled. Someone, I'm sure there is a reason, but someone please tell me why airlines are allowed to do this. I mean, you could be flying home for some, like, I don't know, you have to fly home for some life-saving surgery, and now you can't because they cancel your flight. Before anyone in the airline industry gets on me, yes, I know there was a reason, but being on the receiving end of it sucks. So we are trying to figure out what to do. It was looking like, oh, we may not get until Sunday night instead of Saturday night. And then it was, oh, we may not get until Monday. Well, Monday is October 31st. Our year end at work is October 31st. And I'm the manager. And so there's some stuff that only I know how to do. I can walk them through it, but it puts my anxiety at ease to actually do it myself. And so not being there for year end is going to make me a nervous wreck. Because, you miss something at year end, you got to hold on to it for the whole year until next October. But anyway, I got into a little anxiety fit. I was crying a little bit, purely because of the whole work thing. And then it's like, okay, we got two options. We could go ahead and take our flight from Tel Aviv to Toronto, and then our travel agent could try to get us a flight from Toronto to Chicago, and then we try to find some way home. Some way home from Chicago. Or, hey, our travel agent found some flights through KLM. We would have to leave the hotel at midnight tonight, which means like if we choose to sleep, we'd get like 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep at the most. And then we have a flight from Tel Aviv to Amsterdam. And then half of our little group goes on one flight from Amsterdam to Detroit, and the other one goes on another flight between the two cities. And so some people have an 8-hour layover in Amsterdam, and then the people who have the earlier flight from Amsterdam then have like an 8-hour layover in Detroit while we all meet up again and then take the same flight from Detroit to St. Louis. Which means that we get home tomorrow night at 9:30, which is only 2 hours later than originally planned. But it means we have no sleep for like almost a day and a half. And so we decided that we're going to try the Chicago route because we got a couple friends from church that are willing to drive some, passenger vans to Chicago, pick us up and drive home. So we get home at like 2 a.m. Sunday morning, but we get a full night's sleep tonight, and that's much more important to us, we decided. So here's hoping that everything works out, God willing, that our travel agent can get us the flight to Chicago tomorrow.
So I head to bed and thankfully fall asleep quickly, despite the slight anxiety over our funky travel plans for the next day. Well, we pack up and rent a shuttle to take us to the airport. We get on our flight, but not before a lovely little episode where I was pulled aside from our group by a woman with security since I stood out from the group. The youngest of everyone and by myself while everyone else was married couples. She asked me questions about the trip to make sure I really was with the group and hadn't joined up with them sometime during the trip. Don't worry, lady, I've known Doyle and Jean since I was a baby. I passed, by the way, if you were wondering if I made it home or got detained in Israel. We enjoyed a flight in which I once again could not sleep. I did get to watch like 4 movies I'd never seen before, so yay. Now, since our Chicago flight was last minute, the boarding passes we were handed in Tel Aviv didn't have the gate number of our flight and definitely no seat assignments on the Toronto to Chicago flight. All we have is a flight number, so we head for the first board showing flight info that we get to. We find the flight number and we get to the gate and head that way. By the way, one of the people that stayed the extra day was an older gentleman with a few medical circumstances that basically meant he couldn't walk as well nor as fast as the rest of us. So we got him a wheelchair to help him through the airport. We get to the gate and Doyle takes our boarding passes to the counter to ask about the flight. He comes back to us to give us more bad news. Our travel agent didn't get us actual seats on the flight to Chicago. We're on standby. But good news, there's 15 open seats, we're only 13, and they've put us on priority. So we'll be the first called. We'll definitely get onto the Chicago flight. And if not, there's another in a couple hours. The bad news? The people picking us up in Chicago are already there. We tell them to head to a long dinner, because the flight is an hour long and it's already delayed by a half hour. So a few minutes before our names were to be called for standby, our flight disappears from the board over the gate. Doyle goes to ask, and the gate has been changed. Now we gotta book it across the airport. We grab our luggage, we get Alan into the wheelchair, and hurry off. Doyle hurries ahead of us so he can get to the gate to ask about our standby seats. I round the corner at the very end of the terminal, and I see Doyle turning back around and saying, "The gate got changed back." We all turn around and we head back to the gate. Doyle asks about the standby seating, which, by the way, the flight is now delayed 45 minutes. He comes back to us with more bad news. There's been a glitch with the way they put us on priority standby, and it's not letting the guy at the gate assign seats to us, which means he can't print us boarding passes, which means we can't get on the flight. The next thing that happens, an employee opens the door to the gate before it has been unlocked properly, so the alarm goes off. finally, security moseys on over. Literally, they were in no hurry at all to turn off the alarm. The flight is now delayed a full hour from its original departure time. It's 10 minutes before the new departure time. Doyle goes back to the gate agent. A few minutes later, he calls us over to get our boarding passes. Yay! We stand there a couple minutes as they print the boarding passes, and then they start calling out names to give them to us. Now they're down to one pass, Alan. They call his name and say he has to go to such and such a gate for a different flight. Immediately, we're all like, what? Why him? Like, he can't walk very well. And like, and why a different flight? You have 15 seats for us 13. And you said you'd get us all on one flight, especially since you guys are the ones that are having this glitch going on. Doyle talks with them a moment before suddenly switching gears and telling us, okay, anyone that has a boarding pass, just get on the plane. I'll sort it out. We get on. A minute or so after our supposed departure time, the others from my group, they start cheering. So I kind of lean into the aisle, and I see Doyle and Alan heading up the aisle. Yay, we all made it. We take off and start heading towards Chicago. We land in Chicago, and all I've been worrying about the last 2 hours since this airport mix-up began is how on earth is our luggage supposed to have made it to us? We kept getting bounced back and forth from gate to gate to gate. We were on standby. Our luggage is not going to be there when we are, is it? We're going to have to hold up our driver some more while we wait for luggage, or we're going to have to head home and have our luggage shipped to us. I don't like that option. But lo and behold, there's our luggage on the baggage claim when we got there, waiting for us lonely stragglers from our flight. And what's better? Our church vans are practically right outside the door waiting for us. They had pizza waiting for us and everything. Not that I could eat the pizza, but it's the thought that counts. I just ate the last of the small snacks I had in my bag. And so began the 5.5-hour journey from Chicago to St. Louis. That's including the few bathroom stops we made. I don't know about anyone else, but I couldn't really sleep on that drive. The church vans didn't really have good shocks on them, because they're meant for either driving from the parking lot to the front door of the church, or for driving short distances around the city for the food pantry. Driving 300 miles on the highway? Not comfy. You start to doze off, and then the van would hit a small bump. You'd feel like you've hit in a pothole and you wake up again. I'm glad we did go with the Chicago plan. It felt like much less time between leaving the hotel in Jerusalem to arriving home, since there were no layovers and we got a full night's sleep the night before. But I know a lot of us were regretting not doing the KLM option halfway through that van ride. Well, here we are at the church at 3:30 on Sunday morning. The worship and tech team is due to arrive for setup and practice for Sunday morning services in just 3 hours. We're exhausted. And now I'm home. Look at how dirty my suitcase is after this trip. And that was my trip to Israel. I know it was a lot of videos, but I hope you guys had fun. But hey, it's not over yet. Stick around to the end of this video if you want to see some of the souvenirs that I bought. For those that could care less about the souvenirs, I will see you in the next video. Lights, camera, life.